Now this is not typically me, this design, this knife. But I will say that I'm kind of glad that I sometimes try something different out of the box. Like this. The Medford Praetorian Genesis T. The DLT exclusive version in CPM S90V. I think that 9 there on the blade is the marking of the steel. I wish we had some more sun out here. Would have made the scales look a little bit nicer than what I can make them look like here, because they are pretty nice. This entire thing is pretty nice. No other folder in my possession that is quite like this. That is for 100% sure. But let's start with the unboxing part, which I have actually already done, obviously. But as you know, I like to start off a video with some nicer footage than some indoor tabletop unboxing thing, you know. So the sun blessed me with some rays of light here that can perhaps make the scales come a bit more to life. Perhaps. It's hard capturing this on video. Maybe it will be easier to do it indoors, after all. Yeah, let's head inside for now. I want to start this video off by apologizing for the background noise. It is raining a lot. It wasn't raining when I set the camera up and everything, but it is raining now. And I hope you can hear me quite well still. I don't really feel like waiting out on the rain, because I want to do this unboxing so I can start, messing around with this new tool of mine. And this video is going to be about my first experience ever with a product made by Medford Knife and Tool, a US manufacturer that are most known about their folders, but they do make a couple of different fixed blade models as well. Maybe some other tools, I'm not quite sure. But this is what I have to show you today. And this is the DLT exclusive Praetorian Genesis T in CPM S90V. So I guess the model itself is, not an exclusive, but the steel for this model makes it the DLT exclusive. I'm not 100% sure which other types of steel this one has been made in before, Or maybe the knife is actually the entire model. The Praetorian Genesis T is an exclusive altogether. I should probably check that out. But regardless, I got this one from DLT Trading, and it was stated as an exclusive for that company. So let's. Do we have any notes or anything here? We have. Genesis T, S90V, tumble finish, drop point grind, rose lightning for handle and rose lightning for spring, it says here. So let's open this little package up here. I will admit that I might have peeked inside a little, but this is going to be the official unboxing of sorts. So we have a dog tag here that says warranted forever in new or used original condition. So that seems like a pretty good warranty. I guess when people put something like that in print, they have great trust in their own products. So not your typical package for a knife, I'd say. This looks like a kind of like a waterproof case. I have to read up on it if it is, but pretty solid packaging, I'd say. And then we can perhaps open it up a bit. And reveal the contents of the box. There is a knife inside. That is a good thing. I was really hoping for that. Let's put it down there. Man, it's raining a lot. We have some let's see. Some stickers, 2 stickers to be exact. This one might be, kind of difficult to see in the camera, but once removed it would be, I'm gonna put it somewhere and then we can see it better. We also have this I was gonna say cardboard, but you put this on like a bag or something, a patch. And that was, there is actually something more inside here. Is this perhaps a small sticker as well? Then we have some silica gel. Probably made in the United States of America, warranty, care and maintenance. So we got some info about those topics. And we also have a certificate of authenticity. Let's see. Looks like this. Now I think it perhaps stopped raining. And now it starts again. So now we have an understanding of what is included in this box. Let's take a look at the actual knife itself. Should we perhaps zoom in a bit? I think we should do that. So let's take this little but kind of heavy knife out of the box. What do we have here? I wonder how well the scales are visible in the camera without any, additional light here in the room. Because the scales are really nice looking, like, sort of lightning, but I think it might require some additional light to really see the reflections. Really got some weight to it. I think they're about 7 ounces. It was like 7.2 perhaps, something like that. Got some good weight to it. Let's nice on there. And it's a nice looking folder. I mean, it looks like a workhorse, really, but at the same time it really looks like a piece of art. So it is, the best of both worlds, perhaps you could say. Maybe we should also go over the specs while we are at it. So the overall length of this knife here is 7.5 inches with a close length of 4.35 inches. The blade length is 3.3 inches and the blade thickness, yeah, you can see it's got some thickness to it, right? The blade thickness is 0.190, so 0.190 inches. The blade steel, as I said previously, is CPM S90V, and this is the drop point version. They also come with a Tanto version, but I'm not much of a Tanto person like that. I kind of like it like this with a drop point. To me, this is a slightly more useful design of sorts. The handle material is of course titanium. It has a really large, but not protruding in any way, but a large pocket clip here. It's a right hand only tip up, as you can see. And it is a frame lock. Maybe I should zoom in a bit, so you can see there. And there is no blade play that I can see, and it is a pretty solid lock up here, like 30%, which is really nice. No lock sticking. Feels kind of smooth. I bet I'm gonna have to break it in a little. Not something that you can flick open easily, or I can't do it right now at least. But in time, maybe that will be possible. So it's not a flipper or anything like that. You will use the fuller here to open the knife up. I guess you could kind of close it like this. It's got some weight to it, but like I said, it's gonna have some break-in time to make it, super smooth in opening and closing. But I think that will go fairly fast, probably during the making of this video review. First impressions? Well, it's quite different from any other of my folders. If you have been following me for a while or seen many of my folding knives videos, you know that I have nothing quite like this, and especially when it comes to blade thickness and the more semi-overbuilt style, so to say. But I got to say that I like this one, both the looks and the feel. So I have size 10 in gloves, fairly large hands. Let's place the knife here. Easily a full 4-finger grip. And you know, the jimping here is pretty, it's got some pretty extreme jimping going on here, but it's not uncomfortable. It's actually quite easy for you to lock your thumb, you know, in the different like grooves here of the jimping, and I kind of like that, you know. Not always a fan of jimping, but for this design it feels like it just, you know, it just works. You have a small choil area here. I'm not sure I'm gonna dare place my finger, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But it's not, you know, it's not a big area to use, but if you've got slightly smaller fingers than I do, then perhaps you could use it for, you know, if you wanna really go in for some finer works of sorts. I mean, I can put my finger here. I can do that, and that is because the sharpened part here, it's not sharpened until, you know, a bit up there, so I'm not super scared of placing my finger there. But, you know, should I slip? I don't think I would, but then it would be quite, you know, close to the actual edge of the blade. But like this, it will work. But I'm not sure if it was really, you know, intended to be used that way, but obviously it can be used in that very way. Let's see, we got this, I think this is like a glass breaker or something of sorts here. And it also has a lanyard hole to it. Small backspace, not really a backspacer of sorts, because it's just this lower end part, but lanyard hole and the glass breaker. So I think we're done with the first part of this video, the unboxing and the going over the specs of the knife. We could of course take a look at the blade centering. That's always something we should do. I can see right away that the centering is more or less spot on, but we will take a close look here in the camera as well. Hopefully you can see that the blade is more or less 100% centered. First impressions. Well, I am positively surprised, because I did feel, you know, a little bit worried about you know, getting my first large, thick folding knife, but having it here in hand, it sure feels quite good. So overall, very nice first impressions. So this video is taking a tad bit longer to make than what I initially expected, and that is because I got corona mid-recording. Anyway, we have now reached the next part of this video review. We have done the unboxing, we have gone over the specs, and we have taken a look at the knife in some better settings than, you know, well, this. So what we're gonna do now is put the knife to some actual testing, and we're gonna start with a sharpness test. We have some regular printing paper, which is, interestingly enough, you know, sometimes the most difficult paper to cut. One would think it would be the easiest, but for reasons unknown to me, probably something with the paper grain or something, this is usually the trickiest paper to slice up. We also have some a magazine, some random magazine paper that we're gonna do some testing with, and some newspaper paper. What's that one? Because that one is a bit. So let's start with the printing paper. Then we go magazine paper, and then we finish off with newspaper paper. Sounds like a plan. So here we have the printing paper. It is a little bit damp. I've been out for a little while making some other videos and stuff. So, but it shouldn't, it shouldn't affect the cutting of it too much. And it's not really windy now. So I'm gonna start by cutting off the corners, and then we're gonna do some, maybe fold it and cut it, and well, just try some different stuff out. Wind is picking up now, so that was the removal of the 4 corners. Not the cleanest cuts, to be fully honest. Then again, I don't really think this knife is supposed to be, a super slicer. I mean, it is kind of thick behind the edge. I mean, it's not a small knife, but it should be able to, take the corners off and stuff like that. Now I folded it. See if we can cut something off here. Yeah, cut this off as well. So let's do a quad folder here. See if we can cut this as well. So that is the printing paper. Like I said, it's not the absolute finest cuts, but we did shred it, sort of. So that is, I mean, it's not bad. But I have some folders that will make finer work of printing paper than this. But I still think this is quite. Good enough for a folder to be able to cut the paper up like this. Let's make some. So printing paper. That test is, I think it passed the test. If we put it like that. Next up we have the magazine paper. Let's see. Here we have the magazine. Let's see what will be the best angle in the camera. If I do like that perhaps, and then we slice. Yeah, this, I think this should be enough. So this is just some, well, I don't know what this paper really is, but it's semi-thin paper. Come on. So let's slice it up then, shall we? It seems to be doing pretty okay, I guess. Yeah, do we need to slice any more? I don't think so. But maybe we should do anyways, because it is kind of satisfying slicing up this type of paper. So let's do some bonus slicing here. Yeah, so I think we passed the magazine paper test as well. We shredded it, sort of. This was removed by me. So let's go on to the final paper slicing test, which is the newspaper test. This is always very interesting in my humble opinion. So let's see if we can grab some, I don't know. Let's take this one, or so this will be interesting. Now I want this to be visible as well. Is this visible? Should we change the camera? Oh man, it's a little bit windy now, so stay still. Yeah, if we can just get this to be still. I'm gonna wait for a second. Yeah, let's test our luck. Very, very nice. Not quite sure how visible this. Let's see. Go for a larger piece, perhaps. This one? Oh wait, yeah. And should I hold it? Let's go like this, yeah. Oops. So I will say that it is able to slice, you know, this really super thin newspaper stuff here. So it may not be a dedicated slicing knife, but it sure can slice thin paper. Absolutely. Yeah. So regular printing paper, magazine paper and newspaper, it passed all of those tests. So that is, we're off to a good start, I'd say, for our next cutting tests, which will probably be some food prep, some vegetables and fruits, and then we will see what else we can do with this beast of a folder. To be continued. We're now inside since it started raining, otherwise I would have been outside. I like being outside, but the weather is what it is. So it's now time for another sharpness test of sorts, or more a slicing test, I'd say. So we're gonna, let's see, slice some different fruits and vegetables. We have some kiwi, paprika, apple, orange, tomato, grapes, banana, aubergine, etc. So I might not go with everything on the plate, or maybe I will, but this is sort of what we have on the table. And this knife did, I mean, we did try, you know, its slicing capabilities in terms of paper, different kinds of paper, and it was, you know, it wasn't perhaps the best paper slicer, but that does not mean it will not slice fruit and vegetables well. But like we will just, in a matter of seconds, we will find out how well it slices these different kinds of fruits and vegetables. So give me 1 second and we will start doing some slicing and dicing. So let's start with less messy fruits and vegetables, perhaps. Let's go with a orange or yellow paprika to begin with. See how we can do. I mean, I doubt that a lot of people use their Medfords in the kitchen like this, but some people might do it. I mean, I could potentially see myself doing that because I tend to play around with knives in all kinds of environments. Or I mean, knives that are not, you know, really intended to be used in that specific setting of sorts. Just want to get all the small paprika seeds away. This is actually a really nice juicy paprika. I'm gonna eat it not now during the slicing test because that will take focus away, but I look forward to eat it like a snack once we are done, so to say. So let's there's a bit going to waste here, but still we get most of it here. So slicing a paprika with this knife is not a hard task to do. It is, as can be seen, fairly easy. Does the job well. Might not be the trickiest, vegetable to use a knife on. Certain fruits and certain vegetables have, more difficult skin, or they're just tricky to slice up. But now we have a ton of pieces here of paprika. Let's make them. I'm gonna have to eat this with a spoon if I'm gonna use it. Or snack on these. I'll just. Seed away. So slicing up a orange or yellow paprika was not, a super difficult thing to do. Let's see if we can put this on a plate, another plate here. See. Oops. So the big question now is what do we go with next? See. So next we could go with a, maybe we should go with the snack paprika, this one. Just gonna maybe we don't have to cut it up completely, or we can do some other. Yeah, so this is just some random snack paprika something. Let's put it on the plate as well. Goes together nicely aesthetically with the yellow paprika here. So next up, well, if we're gonna stick to vegetables, then we should go either tomato or aubergine. I think we're gonna go aubergine now. Let's cut this off here. Wonder how thin a piece we can get here. Yeah, this is semi-thin. I mean, I would never use that thin a piece when, you know, when making some sort of, you know, dish or food. Let's see. Yeah, this one we can just throw away. It's too thin to be properly used for pretty much anything. Try doing some different kinds of cuts here. So now we have some smaller pieces here. Could have made them actually even smaller perhaps. Let's just push it over there. Then we can go with these. It's gonna be like equal in size. That's what we just did. So yeah, sort of diced up here. This one. So I apologize for the sudden, cut here in the video. I had some issues here that the memory card went full. But what I did with the remaining pieces here is that I put the round pieces on top, and then I cut them, cross cut them like this, making them into small pizza slice or pie slices here. Yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world that it wasn't seen on the camera, and I'm happy I did look at the camera and saw that it said memory card full. So that is a good thing at least. So let's proceed now and hope there will be no more interruptions. I might zoom in a bit here, try to get it the way it was previously, perhaps like this, probably not the end of the world. So we have done some yellow paprika, we have done some snack paprika, and we've done some aubergine, and now it's time for something else. Probably the tomato, I think, since that is the last vegetable here in the mix. So tomato it is. Always a good challenge with the skin that can be kind of tricky if the knife is not sharp enough. I think this one is sharp enough. Maybe I should have brought 2 tomatoes actually, so we could have done some different kinds of. I'm gonna get another tomato as well. Give me 1 second. Here we have 1 more tomato. That's good. We can stand there. So let's slice this one up. Let's do, you know, full round slices like this. Not sure how thin pieces I should be making. Yeah, there we can see that it can be semi-tricky actually with the tomato peels. This was a very watery tomato. Very soft and watery, which does make it a bit more challenging. Let's go with this, that. So it is actually, I mean, it is possible to slice them up like this, but it's not super, it's not a kitchen knife, if I put it like that. This will be a really interesting test now to do this. Yeah, it's so, well, maybe the tomato itself wasn't really, you know, optimal to begin with. It's just getting kind of crushed. But we did, yeah, we did hack it up a bit here. Over to the plate. Yeah. I don't know, this is just some random slicing here, but I mean, yeah, you will be able to, you know, cut up a tomato, absolutely, using this knife, but it might not be my, you know, #1 tomato slicer if I put it like that. Over to the plate and clean up this mess. So yeah, here we have like the vegetable plate. I think I'm gonna have to go and grab a, oh no, I can just use this plate that the fruit is already on. So let's continue with our fruit collection here now and see how it fares. So to say, let's start with the orange. I think maybe I should have brought 2 oranges. I'm gonna have to go and get one more. So now we have 2 oranges, which means we can do a bit different types of slicing. But I'm gonna go with large round pieces like this. You know, this is when cutting length actually becomes, you know, and not an issue, but it becomes, you know, increasingly important, you know, to get nice slices that you can actually get through the entire fruit with the blade. Man, there are a lot of seeds in this one. We actually cut right through them here. Cut the seeds in half. Well, I mean, that is of course one way to do it. If you have a sharp or strong enough knife, you can of course just cut right through them. Oops. My bad. So here we see the peel is actually giving resistance here to the edge. This was not a nice piece. I'm gonna toss that away. Let's see if we can do some other stuff with this. Just, you know, cutting it up because, well, just because we can. Some random pieces which are actually quite useless, so I'm gonna throw them away. These ones we can keep here on the plate. That one we can toss away. My hands are getting a bit sticky and messy right now, so I'm gonna do like that. So let's do some pieces like this. Man, those seeds. Lots of seeds. Seed again. Well, now we have an orange cut up in small pieces to be eaten. So this was not very tricky. Let's put them there. So next up, let's go with Maybe some grapes could be a bit of a challenge. Yep, here we go. So, how will we cut these? Perhaps, let's just see if we can, yeah, that. Cutting them in some different shapes. Absolutely no issues cutting the grapes in half like that. But if we want to cut them in smaller or finer bits, then it could perhaps prove to be a bit more of a challenge. So let's throw these away, or not throw them away, let's put them like that. See how many. So cutting a grape in 4 pieces was doable. Let's do it on this direction. So this one we cut in another way. Got 6 pieces of it. Yet again, I think this were like six pieces of this one. So grape cutting, it seems to be doing a good job at cutting grapes. So if what you're looking for is a grape cutting knife, then I mean this could be it. But I mean, might be perhaps, you know, just perhaps a bit overkill going with a Medford as a grape cutting knife. But who am I to, you know, judge? So now we have some different slice grapes here for our plate, our fruit plate. Or our fruit salad, perhaps, because that is what this is turning into, some sort of a fruit salad. Next up, let's go with kiwi, perhaps. How do we want to slice this? I'm actually not quite sure. You obviously, you know, you won't eat the skin of this, but this is just a slicing test, so it doesn't really fully matter. I have some small, you know, pie pieces here of sorts. This one is a useless piece, but we can still cut it up a bit. And these ones, what are we gonna do with these? Maybe we should remove this, like, you know, go in for what is actually edible and then throw away the peel. Yeah. Oh, there was some peel left here. Actually missed it. There we go. I mean, we should have peeled this one before doing anything, to be honest. But at least, you know, for cutting purposes, we have, you know, massacred a kiwi now for whatever it's worth. Next up, man, we are actually going through all the fruits and all the vegetables that I put on the plate. Here we have a banana. This is not how you usually cut up a banana, but in the name of science, this is what we will do. So. Remember, people, this is a cutting test, not really, you know, a food prepare video, because this is just, I've never seen anyone cut a banana like this. That is not too strange that I haven't seen it. So yeah, just toss this away. So I don't really know what I'm doing right now, but this used to be a bit of a banana. Let's add it to the plate. Last, and well, not least, but we have an apple. Let's do something with it. I'm actually more or less breaking it apart now. See if we can make some semi-fine cuts to get the seed house out here without actually breaking the whole apple. Did we manage? Yeah, we did. So now we have some, I mean, if we were making an apple pie, these pieces could potentially work in terms of thickness, I'd say. And these, yeah, what are we gonna do with this? Good question. This piece really got messed up when we removed the seeds. Let's just so now we have a massacred apple here as well. These pieces can actually be eaten at least. Could be used in a fruit salad or an apple pie, perhaps. So let's see. So let's clean this thing off a bit. So, will you be able to use this knife in the kitchen? Yes, you will, but it might not, excel at it. Here we have the sliced up tomatoes, aubergine, paprika, might be something else underneath here, I'm not quite sure. But this is what we turned that into. The tomato was the big challenge, it was the only challenge here that we could see or feel. Here we have the fruits, the grapes, the kiwi, the banana, the apple, the oranges. So the only semi-tricky part here was slicing some of these oranges. But you will be able to make a fruit salad using your Medford Praetorian Genesis T. But once again, it might not be the optimal knife for it, but it will, it will cut the fruit at least. So yeah, I guess that's it for this particular segment. Next up, we're gonna do some woodwork with this knife and see what we can accomplish. But like I stated, I don't think most people buy a knife like this to use it in the kitchen slicing tomatoes and oranges. But one should of course never say never. The rain is continuing to pour down, and I really want to get this video, finished. So it seems like we will have to make some segments indoor that I would have preferred to do outdoors. But I think that the next segment here we're gonna make is going to be feather sticking and some sort of carving. I would have liked to be out in the woods now, finding some different types of twigs and sticks, making some different like spear points or notches and stuff like that. I might actually venture out in the woods in the rain later on, but my camera is not super fond of water. I actually killed one of my cameras dropping it from my kayak when we were close to shore though, so it was just a quick dip in the sea. But it gave up a few months later, and I think it was connected to that. Regardless, let's do some or try to do some feathers. Here we have some different types of well, it's actually the very same type of tree, but I think we could potentially do some feathers from them potentially. So let's see if we can get something visible in the camera, and then we can just proceed. Maybe it's better if I hold like this. We can actually see that there is some feathers going on. Let's see. Maybe try from this side as well. We actually got some nice feathers on the table instead on, see if I can some small curls. Let's see. Maybe we should I don't know. It's actually making some pretty good feathers, I'd say. Now we're making some thick feathers. This is actually not, you know, not too bad. This would work, you know. Getting a fire going with. Then we have some nice curl. We can take a look at them later here, but this would actually work fairly well. You know, get a few of these and they will catch fire pretty quick using a fire seal. And then we have these small, see if I can get them in the palm of my hand. These are actually not bad, really nice small curls here. Also good, you know, to stuff into the fire, or to be fire at least. Let's put it on the side here. Let's see if we can make some more curls or feathers. And our only issue is, you know, getting them to stay on the wood here. So we're getting some, yeah. Once again, some mixed feathers here. So I think that if we were to put all this together here, now I smashed it a bit accidentally, but you know, using this to start a fire will absolutely work. This knife will feather stick. Absolutely, 100%. May not be the best feather sticker, but it's definitely not the worst. I think it did some really nice curls, to be honest. So, feather sticking, this knife will make feathers. I want to do some carving and, you know, make some notches and stuff, but I really have to go outside to do those sorts of things. So I'll see if I can pack my bag and try to waterproof my camera in some sense, and then we can head out. Well, as you can see, we are no longer indoors, we are outside. It's still raining, but not quite as bad as before, and I did find a nice spot to place the camera under some fallen trees, so it should probably survive. I also picked up a few different types of twigs and sticks here to see what we can make from that. So let's we have some birch fir, pine, yeah, a little bit of this and that. So let's see if we can yeah, do something here. Yeah, so just a close up first what we are working with. This is birch. I want to make a sort of a spear tip on this one. If we can remove these twig parts here. It actually works quite nice for woodwork. On this specific type of wood at least. See, we're already getting to the fine tip part here. We could do some really nice feathers here as well. But this is not really a feather sticking now. This is more pointy stuff. Yeah, this is pointy. Toothpick. Yeah, maybe a bit too wide to actually work as a toothpick. But even so, we did get a nice spear-like shape here. Maybe we should try doing a notch or something in this one as well. While we're at it, I think we're gonna do a notch right here. I'm not sure how well can be seen in the camera. Let's. I want to make it like semi-deep notch. This is probably deep enough. So now we have made a notch like that. Very smooth, very smooth, and kind of semi-deep as well. Fine tip and notch. Let's see if we can make something more here. I'm gonna try one more thing here on this little thing. Let's see. Ah, damn it. I broke it at a notch. Well, doesn't matter. We can still do this. Well, what I was semi kind of going for was just making it, making a rounded part here, which looks not really, super nice right now, but it does show that, some sort of detailed work can be done, or small works, like carving a round, piece like this. Yeah. Well, it doesn't really matter. I'm just, messing around right now. But yeah, maybe we should try another type of wood. These are fir. This one is pine. It's not really the best part here. I mean, let's see if we can make this pine piece into something spear-like. I think this knife bites surprisingly nice in these different kinds of wood that we have been trying out now. Now it's getting to a very fine tip here. Yeah, this is actually too fine of a tip. This is a tiny bit more stout now. Yeah. It's sharp. See if we can make a notch in this tree type. This is a lot stronger than birch. I still want semi-deep notch. So, deeper than that. So now we have a notch here. Once again, smooth and out of focus. could perhaps have made it even deeper if we wanted to. See how deep we can make it without it breaking in half, snapping in half. Yeah, I think making it any deeper now is just gonna break it. So, oops, there we go. Yeah. So maybe I should make some feathers from one of these. See if we can make some really fine feathers here at the tip of this. Yeah, I'm making really nice feathers, but they fall off here. But I mean, yeah. Well, I do make feathers, but they are tiny and they fall off. So yeah. See, do we want to try yet another type of tree? This I think is fir. Try to make a spear of this one as well. This was surprisingly hard tree, but a bit semi-rotten inside almost. So this could be, yeah, we'll see how what we can manage here. A very hard tree, or hard wood. But we're getting there. We are getting there. Slowly but surely. Yeah. So if you want to use this knife out in the woods, making small spear-like shapes for, well, I don't know, barbecue or hot dogs, or even self-defense or whatever, then this knife will, well, it will make pointy wooden pieces, as well as notches and stuff like that. And as we know from the tests back indoors, you can also use this knife to do feather sticks if you want to start a fire, so that you can put a hot dog on your newly fixed hot dog spear in your preferred wood type. so to say. But all in all, I will say that this knife, it will work as a outdoor companion in the woods. I mean, you know, it is, once again, maybe not the absolute most practical knife to bring with you, but if you want to go fancy and have something really special with you that will do the job, then surely this one will work. Absolutely. 100%. I think this is actually it for the woodworks. Maybe we should find another nicer spot to sit at and make a sort of a conclusion video clip and end this video review of the Medford Genesis Praetorian Genesis T. I'll see what I can do. So let's try to summarize here my thoughts about the Medford Praetorian Genesis T in CPM S90V. So we have done a lot of stuff now, I think. We have done some unboxing, we've gone over the specs, we have done some slicing tests, or slicing magazine paper, 3 different kinds, or not a slicing test per se, more a sharpness test of sorts. We have also done a lot of slicing of fruits and vegetables. And now we are in the woods and have done some feather sticking, or well, we did it at home, but still. But in the woods here we did some wood carving and notching, making spear points, etc. And overall, this knife, I think this knife excelled in wood carving, feather sticking, making spear points, making notches, etc. I think it did a good job in the kitchen as well, with most of the things we threw at it. It did have some slight trouble with the tomatoes, and some even minor problems, or a smaller problem with the oranges. Other than that, it did a great job with most of the stuff there. And overall, I think that this knife is probably not for everyone. Partially because of the price. It is a very expensive knife. You can of course get it in different versions which are less expensive, but the base price is still going to be quite expensive. And you know, the overall design, etc. I mean, it is a big. I mean, this is one of the thinner knives from Medford. We have to remember that. But it's still quite a compact and heavy knife at that. So I think that this is probably not a knife suited for everyone. And I kind of reckon that most people that get one of these knives use it mainly as a collector's item, which I am perfectly fine with. I'm never going to tell anyone what to do with the knives, if they're going to use it or have it as a safe queen for collecting purposes, etc. Me personally, I like to put all my knives to some sort of use. That is how I get the most value out of them, so to say. And therefore I am happy that this knife actually works as a user, not just as a show piece, because it is a crazy good looking knife with some really nice fit and finish. I'm still waiting for the knife to, you know, completely break in. Opening action is really nice, etc. But the closing action it's getting there, but it's still not you know, like hydraulic or drop shotting, you know. But I could probably oil it in or lube it in a little bit and get it to become even smoother. But for this review, I wanted it to be, you know, as, you know, factory. This is, it feels kind of custom made when you look at it. But I wanted it to be as close to to what you get, you know, when you buy the knife. I realize now that it's starting to rain more here, and my camera does not like rain a whole lot. The knife, it can take rain, it can take probably anything you throw at it, because this is a really tough and compact knife, like I said there. I'm not afraid that this knife will get damaged in any way doing hard work or tasks. I haven't done any chopping with this knife, and that is because I will never chop using a folder, regardless of what folder that is. You will never see me use a folder chopping. It is as simple as that. Fixed blades, absolutely, even smaller ones. Axes, of course, but folders, nah, that is where I draw the line personally. But if I had to pick one of my folders to do some light chopping of sorts, this is probably, or well, this is the one folder I would pick for that task, because it has a really solid, great lockup here. It is really heavy and sturdy, so I mean I would trust this one too. I don't think this one would fail mechanically or anything doing some chopping tasks, but it would not be, you know, super comfortable, and I wouldn't enjoy chopping with this knife. And speaking of comfort, now that I have used this knife both in the kitchen and out in the woods, I can say that the handle ergos, I have no hot spots as of yet. But I mean, the jimping is aggressive. No doubt is it aggressive. Quite sharp, to be honest. Sort of like, you know, the sharpness here on the inside of the fuller. So it is sharp. The handle, though, may not look very comfortable, but it is rounded pretty nicely, and it's not too thin either. So it doesn't, you know, it doesn't hurt your hand too much. I would maybe, if I were in the woods and I was doing a lot of wood carving, a lot of feather sticking, etc., I would probably put on my gloves, because that would make it, you know, slightly more comfortable, both with, you know, in terms of jimping, but also in terms of the general handle design. But I will say that this knife is more comfortable than it may appear like or look like. I've gotten no blisters or anything during my use of this knife, and that is a plus. Also, the jimping, you don't have to use the jimping when doing, you know, wood carving, feather sticking, when you're working in the kitchen, etc. But it is, you know, I like to have my thumb, you know, rest on the spine here, and it's impossible to, well, not have it put against the jimping here. Just throwing that out. So what more can we say? A workhorse of a knife. Probably not suited for everyone. Super stylish looking, excellent fit and finish, a bit thick behind the edge. I personally wouldn't have mind if you know, if it was thinned out a bit. I might actually do that myself, so I can get some really nice slicing performances. But I also don't want to affect you know, the toughness of the edge, especially here in the woods when working with wood. You don't want an edge that will, you know, chip out or anything. And some people do say that CPM S90V is quite a chippy steel, so that, you know, I have only good experiences with S90V, but I do think that the edge should, you know, it should be as thin or as thick as is required for the tasks you will put a knife through, if I put it like that. The battery is running out here, so my final words is, well, if you like what you see, and if you like what you've seen in the video, feel free to check this model out or other models by Medford knives. I only have this one from Medford. I'm looking at other models that could be interesting to me, probably slim models, since I don't want those really big monsters, but that will be for the future. Thank you for watching and have a really good day. I'm gonna pack my stuff up here and head back in the rain.